पंचेंद्रिय का छोड़ दे बंधन, तन मन से तू हो जा समर्पण। पंचेंद्रिय का छोड़ दे बंधन, तन मन से तू हो जा समर्पण। दिव्य ज्योतिर्मय देह धारण कर, बाबा के पास जा होके मगन। प्रेम की डोर में मोती पिरो के, प्रेम की डोर में मोती पिरो के, कर ले सच्चा श्रृंगार। उड़ जा प्यारे वतन में, नीले अंबर के उस पार, नीले अंबर के उस पार। पंछी रे बन के फरिश्ता बाबा से मिलना, देना संदेश हमारा। बन के फरिश्ता बाबा से मिलना, देना संदेश हमारा। याद प्यार हम सबका देना, लावतन का नजारा। सच्ची लगन से बन जा बाबा के, सच्ची लगन से बन जा बाबा के। तू गले को हार, उड़ जा प्यारे वतन में, नीले अंबर के उस पार। हो नीले अंबर के उस पार। पंछी रे ओ बाबा तुम मात पिता हो, तुम ही हो जग के तारनहार। ओ बाबा तुम मात पिता हो, तुम ही हो जग के तारनहार। दुख हरता तुम सुख करता हो, गुणों के भंडार। हम सब बच्चे गाते हैं तेरी, हम सब बच्चे गाते हैं तेरी महिमा अपरंपार। उड़ जा प्यारे वतन में, नीले अंबर के उस पार, नीले अंबर के उस पार। पंछी रे उड़ जा प्यारे वतन में, नीले
पीते हैं, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद में जीते हैं बाबा, तेरी याद में जीते हैं बाबा, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं। रहे याद सदा ही साथ तेरी, रहे याद सदा ही साथ तेरी, बस और न हम कुछ चाहेंगे, बस और न हम कुछ चाहेंगे, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं। पल बीते तेरी यादों में, जो पल बीते तेरी यादों में, वो पल अविनाशी होते हैं, वो पल अविनाशी होते हैं। हर पल को सफल बना देंगे, हर पल को सफल बना देंगे, तेरी याद कभी ना छोड़ेंगे, तेरी याद कभी ना छोड़ेंगे, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं। आप रहो संग संग बाबा, यूं ही आप रहो संग संग बाबा, इस दुनिया के सुख पाने क्या, इस दुनिया के सुख पाने क्या, लहराते रहे तेरी यादों में, लहराते रहे तेरी यादों में, उन यादों में खो जाएंगे, उन यादों में खो जाएंगे, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद में जीते हैं बाबा, तेरी याद में जीते हैं बाबा, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं। रहे याद सदा ही साथ तेरी, रहे याद सदा ही साथ तेरी, बस और न हम कुछ चाहेंगे, बस और न हम कुछ चाहेंगे, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं।
बाबा तेरे हम रहे यही जिंदगी का सार है, बाबा तेरे हम रहे यही जिंदगी का सार आधार है, बाबा तेरे हम रहे। प्राण में बस तू है बाबा और न दूजा कोई। प्राण में बस तू है बाबा और न दूजा कोई। स्वर जो तुमने दे दिया है कानों में गूंजा वही। स्वर जो तुमने दे दिया है कानों में गूंजा वही, कानों में गूंजा वही। बाबा तू ही एक जिस पर बच्चों का अधिकार है। बाबा तू ही एक जिस पर बच्चों का अधिकार है। बाबा तेरे हम रहे। हमने ढूंढा आप जैसा बाबा कोई ना मिला। हमने ढूंढा आप जैसा बाबा कोई ना मिला। जिसको अपना कह सके ऐसा हितैषी ना मिला। जिसको अपना कह सके ऐसा हितैषी ना मिला। हमको बाबा न मिला। तुझ में अपनी बस्ती देखी, तू ही बस संसार है। तुझ में अपनी बस्ती देखी, तू ही बस संसार है। बाबा तेरे हम रहे। अपना प्यारा करके हमको जग से न्यारा कर दिया। अपना प्यारा करके हमको जग से न्यारा कर दिया। जो न दुनिया दे सकी बाबा वो तूने दे दिया। जो न दुनिया दे सकी बाबा वो तूने दे दिया। बाबा वो तूने दे दिया। ये हृदय गाता है प्रतिपल बस तेरा उपकार है। ये हृदय गाता है प्रतिपल बस तेरा उपकार है। बाबा तेरे हम रहे यही जिंदगी का सार है। बाबा तेरे हम रहे यही जिंदगी का सार है। इस बड़े संसार में तेरा प्यार ही आधार है। इस बड़े संसार में तेरा प्यार ही आधार है। बाबा तेरे हम रहे।
Om Shanti. Golden morning and happy Satguruvar. I feel as if I'm sitting in a room full of air quality souls. Something pulled me to Cape Town. Now I know why. Baba's Murli. Baba's Murli, Madhuban, everything is combined. You know, I remember many years ago having a conversation with Dadi Gulzar. And I was asking her about the different types of love and the different types of relationship with Baba. And she was going through each one. And then at the end, she said, all the different types of love are merged in one relationship, the father and child. And she was so true, because even logically, studies have shown that the relationship between father and child, not even child and mother, but father and child, and that love is then mimicked into every other relationship as you grow up. And so when we come to Baba, what does the child do? When the child is born, it just gives and receives love. He doesn't think about reading an encyclopedia to figure out how it's going to live in the world. Right? No, the first thing it does is it draws love through drishti. It can sit for hours in its mother's arms and father's arms and just look into the eyes. No? And that's how bonding happens. And so our spiritual bonding happens when we sit with the Father and we give and receive Baba's drishti. That's Baba's love as the Father for us. And it's such a deep bonding because you can experience Baba's drishti anywhere. It's not that you have to be sitting physically in front of Baba. Drishti is a perception. You're already merged in someone's perception because you've bonded with them. It's like you can go anywhere in the world, but in your mind's eye, you can see your Lokik parents, right? Mm-hmm. They're in your drishti wherever you go. Now, the amazing thing about us children is that we are in Baba's drishti all the time. Because, you know, for Baba, the children are his world. So it doesn't matter where you are, Baba always has you in his drishti. That's why he was able to find you. If you weren't in his drishti, he wouldn't have been able to find you. Right? And then what Baba's talking about today, the teacher. So the Father, through drishti, gives love, bonds you, and takes your heart. The heart that was fragmented for so many births, broken into many pieces, the heart gets cleaned. I've come back into the lap of the one I belong. And then the teacher. And the teacher starts to go in and clean, refocus our intentions, clean the intellect of the fog of the web of bhakti and all the different beliefs we may have inherited over many births. The teacher cuts through the jungle of all our bhakti beliefs. And bhakti is not just bhakti done in India. Bhakti is anything linked to the body. We have various forms. I mean, nowadays the bhakti is changing because technology is changing. Before we used to bow our heads in front of God. Then we used to bow our heads in front of nature. And now we bow our heads in front of the mobile phone. Right? Everybody's like this the whole time. So Baba's truth enables our heads to rise up again, for us to realize who we are out of this jungle, come into the light and regain our sense of self-sovereignty again. He reminds us powerfully who we are. And so what the study does is it orientates us back to our aim and objective. We focus again. Yes, when you focus, you see your way out. You lose focus, you start stumbling. So Baba's knowledge starts cleaning out our intentions and refocusing our awareness, our attitude. And then the Satguru. The Satguru literally gives us guidance for our activities, our actions. He shows and defines the path. Child, these are my footsteps, follow them. And the wonderful thing about the Satguru is you don't have to think about what you have to do. You just have to follow. Now, how does following work? It's not a question of subservience. It's a question of recognizing the blessings I'm receiving from Baba are already mine. I am a blessed soul, and so the action follows suit. You can't perform elevated action with an unworthy consciousness. You can't. And so I remember somebody asking Daddy this question. Daddy, many of those in Bharat, there's a system and custom of gurus, having gurus and priests, but we don't have that in the West. So how do you experience the relationship with the Satguru? And she gave a very beautiful response. She was saying, take each day's blessing as your own. And when you accept Baba's blessing for you, your actions will follow suit. It's easy to follow in the footsteps of Baba. So these are the three relationships that bring about transformation in heart, mind, intellect, and activity. No other relationship does it. The other relationships will give you company, a nice little massage. You go into the lap of the mother, she soothes and comforts you. Just offload a bit to your friend. But the transformative relationships are father, teacher, and Satguru. Now, the beautiful thing is the teacher is the pivot point. Because I don't really feel Baba as my father. But you know, the moment you step into this joy of being a godly student, and you start listening to the Murli, and you start accepting Baba's bhav, Baba's intentions, Baba's feelings for you, what Baba wants, the love starts to grow. It's like being with somebody who starts talking to you so lovingly and explaining everything. The love starts to grow. You can accept your dad. Then you can also accept the elevated vision they have of you. You can accept the blessing they have of you. And so it doesn't matter which relationship you choose as an entry point. It will give you eventually the experience to the other two. And we need a complete sense of relating to Baba in all three, for there to be complete transformation from inside. The healed heart, the clear intellect, the connected and loving mind, and the graceful action. And then the deity gets pulled out of us through all the relationships. the self-sovereign, gets pulled out of us. So today Baba's talking a lot about the study. And that a big part of how Baba's Gyan is absorbed is when we sit in the awareness of who is giving us this Gyan. You know, even in the Lokik world, when you give importance to the person, you give importance to their words. Oh, this person said this. Deepak Chopra said this, and then it becomes a bestseller. Right? And we've got here, Godfather Shiva said this. There should be a big billboard here, right? And when you give importance to who is saying, it's the truth. Baba would lie. God would lie. And if this is the absolute truth, and I accept this, something very, very deep starts to happen in the soul. But when I don't recognize that God is truth, then you're just listening to words. And he's like, what's this Murli about? It's just the same things every day. Consider yourself to be a soul. It's just the same things every day. God's so subtle, and each Murli every day has a slightly different slant to it. Can you capture? Because he's revealing himself through the Murli. And to know Baba as he is and who he is, not what we want him to be, but as he is and who he is, Murli is inside. The other day, somebody said to me, oh, why is this word repentance used? I Googled it and I got a Christian meaning. I said, yeah, but don't go to Google. Go to God. Ask him what he meant by repentance. You understand? We've developed so much terminology for language from a body conscious belief system. And Google's the new God. But you have to sit quietly, go deep into Baba. Say, Baba, what did you mean by this? And there's so much joy when you discover God's perception, God's thinking, God's intentions. So, Baba's Murli of the 29th of September. Essence, sweet children. You are godly students. You mustn't miss studying for even a single day under any circumstance. You mustn't miss studying for even a single day under any circumstance. If you study and educate yourselves, you will become lords. Question. What are the signs of the children who pay full attention to the Murli? What are the signs of the children who pay full attention to the Murli? What do you think?
Intellects don't wonder.
Their intellects don't wonder.
They experience joy.
They experience joy.
They're happy and free.
They're happy and free.
Progress.
Peace, progress. All of this is merged in this. Answer. Those who listen to the Murli with attention every day know very clearly who the Father is and what he is. They know very clearly who the Father is and what he is. You know, over so many births, we've projected things on God. God, bring my child back to life. God, save my husband. I mean, it still continues here. Our attachments, and you get these, especially in India, the old mothers, God, look after my son. Give my husband a good intellect. Bring him close to Baba. And Baba says, I'm not sitting here to sort them out. You sort yourself out first. So Baba says, those who listen to the Murli with attention every day know very clearly who the Father is and what he is. Because the elevated versions of the Father are only a handful out of multi-millions recognize me as I am and what I am. Only a handful out of multi-millions recognize me as I am and what I am. If they don't pay attention to this study, it will not sit in their intellects that God is giving them this Srimad. And then what will happen? They will ignore what they have heard. It's just like move forward, but don't listen, listen, but don't hear. They will ignore what they have heard. Their intellects become locked. They will not be able to follow the Father's orders. Song. Leave your throne of the sky and come down to earth. Om Shanti. You children now understand that you are children of the ocean of knowledge. We have now come to know the beginning, the middle, and the end of the whole world cycle and the drama from the ocean of knowledge. There are no people in the world who have this drama in their intellects. What is the knowledge of the drama? How does it help you? It helps you let go.
Uses the knowledge of the pure space of time.
Yes. And how does that help you?
Nothing comes as a surprise.
Nothing comes as a surprise.
Yeah.
Nothing new.
Yeah.
And also makes you carefree. And you realize everything is natural. Golden Age is natural. Silver Age is natural. Copper Age is natural. Iron Age is natural. So many people in the world, when they don't have drama in their intellects, question the context. Why is this happening? And the biggest cause of sorrow is that. Why is the world like this? Why? So Baba says, there are no people in the world who have this drama in their intellects. Among you too, not everyone knows to the same extent. You children know that this Bharat is an imperishable land. It is this Bharat that becomes the land of truth and the land of falsehood. The land of truth is called heaven, and the land of falsehood is called hell. Many children here think that they listen to this knowledge every day and that it is nothing new. They don't imbibe knowledge fully. You are godly students. You mustn't miss studying this even a day. This study is valuable. Even when someone is ill and comes and sits here, at least he or she would be able to hear some elevated versions. If they shed their bodies whilst listening to the elevated versions, they would receive such relief. This is a big hospital. Day and night, there should be a lot of interest in studying. It's medicine. The mother and father also have that interest day and night. God is teaching you. God speaks. Oh, children, you understand this very well, do you not? You say that this war also took place 5,000 years ago. Previously, you didn't know anything. But now, that the Father has explained to you, you understand. It is the duty of students to imbibe the knowledge they receive. The whole purpose of this knowledge is to reform yourselves, make it practical. The main thing here is purity. Souls that have become ugly with alloy in the Iron Age have to have that alloy removed. You souls should have the thought inside that it is Shiv Baba who is speaking to you. Therefore, you have to become soul conscious. Only the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, makes you soul conscious here. No one else has the strength to be soul conscious and to sit here and explain to you. Only Baba makes us soul conscious. You know, as you, in the early days when Daddy Janki first came to Baba, said to Baba, Baba, I've come 1 year late. What do I do to catch up? I would say to read the Murli at least 10 times a day. And you know, she took it one step further. She would read the Murli 10 times a day. From the Murli, she would pick out 10 points that she would revise 10 times a day. And that's how she got the intellect she did. You know, the retention capacity of that intellect, the absorption of that intellect was developed like that. And it's true, if you sit and you read a Murli, even up to the 3rd, 4th time, you will feel yourself becoming soul conscious. That's how powerful Baba's Murlis are. So Baba says, no one else has the strength to be soul conscious, to sit here and explain to you. Although they say that they are God or that they are someone else, they don't know anything. It is in your intellects that you know the beginning, middle, and the end of the whole world cycle. Those who imbibe this are also number-wise. It isn't number-wise just here in Madhuban, but at all the centers. Students are never all the same. Some come for 20 days and some come accurately. No matter where any of you go, you have to study regularly there too. If you don't study the Murli, you get what happens? You get an absent mark where it's school. If you receive a Murli and study it, that is not an absent mark. It is not like this in any other school. When you go somewhere outside, you are always given something to read to take with you. If someone is in hospital, you can go there and read a Murli to him or her. This knowledge is most valuable. You know that however many pass now, they will pass cycle after cycle. So each moment, our passing is a passing for eternity. Our failing is a failing for an eternity, and we don't want to fail it. We are going to pass. We are victorious. That's why we're sitting here and studying. Only those who have faith study. This study is a very important study, and you need to pay great attention to it. There are many children whom Maya catches hold of by their nose. Why would Baba use the example of the nose?
The nose is very sensitive.
The nose is very sensitive.
Nose, you go.
And it's true, it's the only sense organ that has a direct, the input through that sense organ goes straight here. It represents your ego. Even then, they don't remember that they are godfatherly students. So yesterday, what was it? We were being swallowed by the alligator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were being punched and boxed and kicked and swallowed by the alligator. And then today, it's remember that the alligator swallowed the elephant. That refers to this time. By keeping bad company, instead of everything becoming worthwhile, everything becomes ruined. There are very few who study with attention. That's the key. There's one thing to come and just sit here out of duty, but another thing is to study with attention. And Baba's using the English word here. The Father says, scarcely any are able to understand me as I am and what I am. When you say anything to uneducated children, they listen with one ear and let it out of the other. They are unable to keep the directions they receive from God in their intellects. Because they don't have full yoga, Maya locks their intellects. This punishment is received because of not following orders. Baba says, I have come from so far away in order to teach you. You don't obey Srimad, and so what will your state become? God himself sits here and teaches you. He gives you orders. It isn't that he's giving inspiration. There is no question of inspiration in this. And so when it comes to the study, it's not that you're sitting here and catching truth. It's black and white. This drama is predestined. It is eternal. Impure human beings even say that their task was accomplished through God's inspiration. But it's not like that. No sage or holy man knows the secrets of the drama. Baba had also told you earlier to make a big picture of the variety form image of Vishnu. The image those people have created is wrong. They show 4 parts to Vishnu also. They just show the deities, warriors, merchants, and Shudras. They don't have any detail of this knowledge at all. They simply talk about it without understanding the meaning of it at all. The variety form image is very well known. A big picture of it should be made. Although we have Brahmins, deities, warriors, merchants, and Shudras in this picture of ours, the Father says you should create a picture of Vishnu. The top knot should also be shown at the top. Shiv Baba should be shown above that. He is like a star. See, Baba's changing all these pictures in Bhakti. And when I was in Greece, you know the Trimurti picture, the Brahma, Vishnu, Shankar. In Bhakti, they call it the 3 faces of Mahesh, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, of Shankar. But there was a brother who came to Baba because he saw this Trimurti that had been done by Baba's children, because they put Brahma's face on all 3. And when he looked at that, he thought, who's done this? Who's had the courage to put Brahma's face on all 3? And it was that picture that inspired him to come and take knowledge. Can you believe it? And he's a Greek. It's amazing. So Baba says, then there should be the top knot of Brahmins, right above the picture of Vishnu. In English, write, the birth of a BK in the Brahmin clan is just for one birth. This is the most valuable birth. This is the leap birth and the leap age. We're literally leaping in everything we do. This is the highest age of all. No one knows it. It isn't mentioned in any of the scriptures. They call out to the purifier Father. Therefore, it means that this is the end of the Iron Age. No one knows about the confluence age. The Father explains, explain this too. There is the one Brahman birth, and you then become deities for so many births for this length of time. You show how the Christians exist for 2000 years. Then everyone's part comes to an end. How do you know your part is coming to an end?
You only have Baba in your intellect.
When you only have Baba in your intellect. When your karmic accounts with Baba's help. Yeah. How do you know? I was thinking of a tape recorder. You know how when you have the tape, and then when just before it gets to the end, it kind of really speeds up. You fast forward, it speeds up. There's something about things beginning to happen quicker. There's also this thing that you're ready to let go. You know, we've been calling out to God, but we've still been playing. But now you're like, that's it. Disinterest, you're ready to let go. And that's the only time that God can pick up the threads and weave the tapestry of a new world. Because if we're still pulling back, he can't play his part. And then we become his helpers. It should be written clearly. The Brahmin clan, the deity clan, and the warrior clan, the kingdom of Rama, all now belong to the Shudra clan. You should show the variety form image. The whole play is based on Bharat. The whole play. Bharat was pure and Bharat is now impure. All the rest, so whatever's happening in all the other countries, are byplots. They have no connection with the clans. The Father has explained to you the praise of Bharat. This is the imperishable land, and it is never destroyed. You know that there truly are no other lands in the Golden Age. All of them came into existence later, and all of them will be destroyed. So do you think South Africa was a piece of Bharat?
Yeah. Need to come with wedding picnics. On the mountain.
On the mountain.
Yeah.
Nice juicy fruit, huh? It's still quite an abundant land, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a very abundant land. So Baba said, only the imperishable land of Bharat will remain. Everything else will be destroyed. And Bharat, of course, is not India as we know it now. I mean, this land was vast, huge. The very name and trace of everything else will disappear. Only at this time do you children have this knowledge in your intellect. No one else knows it. Bharat was the purest land of all. Bharat is called the land of righteousness. There aren't as many donations made or charity performed anywhere else as here in Bharat. Very, very deep. You are once again receiving here the inheritance of becoming the masters of the world. You are claiming such an elevated inheritance. You received this inheritance and then lost it. There is victory and defeat. You know, I was talking to the sister in charge of Lucknow in India, and she was saying, I mean, you know, in Bharat, giving alms, giving donations, that's huge all the time. And she said, COVID was our most prosperous and abundant time. She says the ministers from the local government would make sure that, you know, their sabji truck would arrive at the center. And it was like we had so many vegetables, we didn't know what to do. So they would prepare meals for all the students, and once a day a meal would go out to all the students in the vicinity. I mean, the generosity of Bharat is just amazing, amazing. You know, I remember when they had closed the airports because of COVID, and only these, how do you say, charter flights were going. And then when the COVID cases were rising in Britain, India held all the arrivals from the UK in a holding space, and every single passenger was PCR tested before they could be released from the airport. And you know, myself and Sister Manda had gone through, and we were there in that holding space for like 5 hours, no, 7 hours. And this is like in the middle of the night. And, you know, I saw them serving hot food, drinks. And I said, who's doing all this? And it was the director of the Plaza Lounges of Delhi Airport. And he's Baba's child. And you know what he'd done? People arrived like 2 o'clock in the morning. He had hot drinks ready for them, everything. He had special packets ready for babies, hot milk ready for them. Oh, it was just so touching. And you think, this is the generosity. This is why God comes in life.
The chosen land. The chosen land.
Yeah. That even today, you know, they say it's the Mai Bap, the mother and father of the land. It's the mothership. So, Baba says, you are once again receiving here the inheritance of becoming the masters of the world. You are claiming such an elevated inheritance. You received this inheritance and then lost it. There is victory and defeat. You now know that you are becoming victorious and that you will then be defeated. The secret of victory and defeat should continue to turn around in your intellects. In the golden age, you don't have the knowledge of how you gain victory or how you are defeated. There you just have the reward. There you won't even be aware of where it was you received this kingdom. Only at this time are you made knowledgeable by the Father. You then go and receive your reward on the basis of this knowledge. The reel of the drama continues to unwind. Your acts continue according to whatever emerges. The acts of 84 births are recorded in the drama. Each soul is so tiny and has a whole part recorded within it. It continues to repeat. This is called nature. No one knows this nature. Such a tiny soul has such a big part which can never be destroyed. The intellects of scientists continue to make arrangements for their own destruction. You souls are making effort to claim a high status. They believe, the scientists believe, that they have now gone close to the moon and stars and will buy plots of land there. Now they're even talking about transferring, when you die, transferring your dead bodies there. So they get preserved, and so that when you come back again, at least you have a body. Yeah. They give a lot of importance to that. We say that they are all doing all of that for their own death. You children know that all of those preparations are being made in order to open the gates of heaven. How would the gates of heaven open without this war? There has to be the destruction of the impure world. You know, conflict is a natural part of the game. So we use the words war, uses extreme ends of conflict. But the nature of conflict is to bring out and to make the impossible possible. It's to bring out, Baba often says, obstacles come because they help you make the impossible possible. It's a natural part. So you have to go through that process. You can't just bypass it. And you know, Baba has said that the horoscope, you know how in the Lokik world we have the, what are they? The 12 signs of the zodiac. So that horoscope is done according to the placement of the stars and astrology. It's still physically related to your body, your nature, physical nature. But the Brahmin horoscope only has 3 signs in it. You know what they are? Only 3 signs. No. Infantry, cavalry, or Maharati.
Okay.
But all 3 are on a battlefield. So you're either kind of plodding slowly, you're on a horse riding, cavalry, sometimes slow, or you're cruising, Maharati. Total perspective, right? So it's one of these. And then I added a 4th, the Kumbhakarna. You know, the Kumbhakarna, the sleeping giant. So you ask these Brahmins, are you okay? Yeah, everything's okay, everything's fine. They haven't even realized they're on the battlefield. You're sleeping on the battlefield. I suppose that's one way to kind of one way to attain victory, because if you're sleeping, people think you're dead, so they don't bother you anymore. Right?
Is that higher than the Marathi?
Huh?
Is that higher than the Marathi?
The Kumbhakarna. No, it's completely the lowest. The Kumbhakarna is lying flat on the ground. The infantry, the foot soldiers are at least walking on their feet fighting. The cavalry on the horses, and then the Maharatis on the elephants. You know.
But in real armies, the foot soldiers are the ones that are known as the cannon fodder. They're the ones that, they're killed first.
That's right.
And then the guys who are on the
Horses come next. And then the elephant riders. The giants come.
They're the ones that are going to fight.
Yeah.
Because on both sides, they'll be killing the foot soldiers and the horse riders, and then in the end,
it's the giants that meet.
Exactly.
Wow. So Baba says there has to be the destruction of this impure world. Scholars and pundits don't know these things. You know that according to the drama, all of this is fixed. Therefore, you children should study this. Some listen to it, study it, and then are finished. Are then finished. Some of you sitting here are not listening. Who's not listening? So Baba says, some of you sitting here are not listening. Only when you imbibe something can you explain to others. If you don't imbibe this and don't do service, what status would you claim? Yes, you will go to heaven and enter the kingdom, but not everyone will become king. So everybody becomes a deity, fully pure, but status is number wise of each deity. Those who study and educate themselves will become the lords. Those who don't study or teach others will have to bow down to others. This has to happen. They will go and serve others. They will enter the kingdom that they will have to serve. There are many subjects being created. They are being created in the region of hundreds of thousands, and they too will have maids and servants. Many will listen to this knowledge at the exhibitions, and something or other will sit in their intellects. Only those who are to reside in heaven will come here. Those of the sannyas religion will not come here. Those who listen to a little will definitely become subjects. They don't have yoga, and so their sins are not absolved. So how could they receive a status? all the secrets are explained to you, children. A kingdom is being established. Establishment will definitely take place at the confluence age. The Father says, I come at the confluence age of the cycle. Those people have then written that I come in every age. Nevertheless, that is 4 or say 5 ages. So why have they shown so many incarnations? They speak of Parasurama incarnation, the Rama with an axe, and then the incarnation into an alligator, etc., and then a fish and whatever. They say many incarnations of God. They show that Parasurama took an axe and killed all the warriors. The Father says, how could that be possible? Would God commit so much violence with an axe? People continue to say, it's true to whatever they hear. They believe something false to be true. The Father says, all of those things are untrue. Just imagine the context of this Murli. In the 60s, Baba's speaking this, and the souls sitting in front of him are steeped in the stories of Bhakti. And literally with every Murli, Baba's snipping off all the entangled branches of Bhakti. I mean, this was a one-man job. I mean, Brahma Baba, imagine being in a position where you can see everything and then having to educate the children to see that. It's not easy because people are driven by fear in Bhakti. Fear keeps Bhakti alive. So Baba says they believe something false to be true. The Father says all of those things are untrue. No one is true at all. When you tell them this, they become upset. Therefore, the Father says, do everything tactfully. A mouse bites so skillfully that you aren't even aware of it. You children have to be very tactful. The Father explains to you very clearly. Some of you, at least, should imbibe it. There is only one main thing. The Father says, constantly remember me alone, and the burden of your sins will be lightened. The alloy cannot be removed except with the fire of yoga. Otherwise, there will have to be very severe punishment. What's the difference between alloy and rust? Alloy is a mixture of 2 metals. And rust is the influence of the atmosphere, right? Oxidization happens. So we get rusty because of company. You know, we get influenced by company. And then, Baba, we can't be pulled by the magnet. When you're rusty, you can't be pulled. But alloy is deep mixture of the vices in our intentions. You know, when we become selfish, self-centered, and we don't, and there's always a reason for which we're doing something. There's an agenda to everything. And that's why alloy requires deep yoga. That from a place of yoga, you perform karma, not because you have a subtle agenda. And that can only be removed by the fire of yoga. Then Baba says, otherwise, there will have to be very severe punishment. You have to pass with honors. Many subjects are created number-wise. Effort is needed in order to receive a kingdom. You have to follow Srimad. Many stop studying whilst moving along. Oh ho, God the Father is sitting here. For as long as you live, you have to continue to drink the nectar of knowledge. This is a study. By studying this, you will be transferred to the new world. A class is transferred number-wise. Here too, everything depends on your efforts. It is said, "O purifier, come." So he would definitely come when it is the end of the iron-aged impure world. The Father explains to you so clearly. Because of having blind faith, people of the world continue to say, it's true, to whatever they hear. They don't understand anything at all. Acha. Poor Baba. He tries so hard, they just don't understand anything. And then at the end, he consoles himself by saying, well, it's drama. To the sweetest beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bab-Dada. The spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children say namaste to the spiritual father. And the essence of Fadharna. 1. Do not disobey the Father's orders. Protect yourself from bad company. Definitely listen to or read the Murli every day. 2. In order to end your burden of sin, stay in remembrance. For as long as you live, continue to drink the nectar of knowledge. Blessing. May you become equal and perfect and be ever ready before destruction takes place. May you become equal and perfect and be ever ready before destruction takes place. To be ever ready before destruction takes place is the means for your own safety. When you have time, celebrate the pleasure of the confluence age, but also remain ever ready. Because you won't know the date of the final destruction in advance. It will happen suddenly. If you are not ever ready, you will be deceived. So remain ever ready. As always, remember that you and the Father are constantly together. Just as the Father is perfect, in the same way, those who stay with him will become equal and perfect. Only those who become equal will go back with him. So good. Success is merged in every step of those whose natures are pure and gentle. Success is merged in every step of those whose natures are pure and gentle. Not sensitive. That's a different kind of gentleness, right? Pure and gentle. Om Shanti. You know, this thing about being ever ready. It's finishing, it's allowing all unfinished business to be finished with the power of remembrance. You know, we have our whole being to serve. You can serve through your thoughts, through your words, through your attitudes, through your activity. And being ever ready, for me, it's not about, how do you say, oh, hang on a second, Baba, I haven't quite finished what I had to do. Just let me just finish this service project or finish this bit, and then I'll come to you. It's about in each moment, when you're carrying Baba with you as you do that task, you're actually creating and finishing something at the same time. That's the beauty of Baba's companionship in each act. We're closing something and we're opening something. We're closing the influence of the past and we're sowing the seed for something new. And so in everything you do throughout the day, when there's Baba's company, you can settle a lot. And at the same time, in what you're settling, you sow the seeds for something new. It's so powerful. But when we do things alone, we struggle. And that's when we feel we're running out of time. We don't have enough time to do this. This isn't going to work. Because Baba is the creator. And Baba is the one that helps us settle our karmic accounts. And remove the burden of sins. See, one is to have the burden of sins, which is linked as a result of our alloy, right? And another is to have lots of karmic accounts, the web. Now, through yoga, we can remove the burden, but we still have to walk ourselves out of the web we created. He's not going to, you know, if you're sick and your body's sick, he's not going to come and sort your body out. He'll go to a doctor instead, right? But what he can do through yoga is finish the burden of sin that allows you to walk out of the web you created lightly. And when you finish the burden of sin, you know, you can let go of that aspect of your old nature and sanskara. That aspect of your old nature and sanskara that made you perform that sin in the first place. And when you release that sanskara, by default, the karmic account attached to that sanskara is released. You don't have to go into every single karmic account to settle it. You don't have to. You just have to powerfully have yoga with Baba. Release yourself of the burden of sin. Release the old sanskara, and you watch the context and the circumstances change. Because the only thing holding you to your karmic accounts are your sanskaras. You transform your sanskara, and immediately the account is disengaged. So Baba comes and makes it so easy for us. And I feel at this time, you know, having been in Madhuban for 3 years during COVID, I had the good fortune to be locked up in Pandit Bhavan during COVID, right? And literally you couldn't even leave the gates of Pandit Bhavan. And every like 20 minutes, there'd be a vehicle going out, blaring loudspeaker, don't come out of your houses, don't come out of your houses, wear your masks, wear your things. And so we were like, nobody, we couldn't go to Om Shanti Bhavan for Murli. So Murli would be in the meditation hall, and then people would be sitting in the history hall outside by the Tower of Peace, and it was like a holiday. It was just like a complete holiday. And then I had this feeling that I'm sure Daddy Janki engineered this. You know, I'm sure that after she passed away, the lockdown started. And it was like she was telling all of Baba's children, now sit down, be quiet, and sort yourself out. This is the last chance you're going to get. You know, I just had this feeling that her departure somehow was really connected to this, because Daddy's deep wish for all of Baba's children was finish your weaknesses, finish your weaknesses. And she would always say, you don't give yourself time. People don't give themselves time. And to do this work of drawing from Baba at a very subtle level requires time. Now I have to pull away all my faculties, especially my subtle faculties, my mind and intellect, for a period of time from everything outside and focus it in Baba. Rethread it into all relationships with Baba. And once it's threaded, the relationship makes you move. Mama would always say, Hukum hi hukum chala raha hai. The Father's orders make you move. So the effort for us, I feel, is really to make sure that our minds and intellects and hearts are threaded in all relationships with Baba. Once that's set and threaded, everything else just works automatically. And Baba's so kind. Baba even carries us through so much. Baba's always there. Because the children are his world. And I felt very much this time in Madhuban how Brahma Baba was just, when Baba said, be ever ready, setting up his campus. You know, we've had this project for water and food safety and health hygiene, and environment, health and safety. Now these kind of things just was like a new language in India. Nobody thinks about hygiene in India. And then here we come from the Anglo-Saxon world and going about health and hygiene, and they say to us, you double foreigners are sterilized. You're too sterilized. And then there was one lawyer that said to me, oh, well, they're not afraid of COVID. They're just afraid of lockdown. Because these people live with germs. But then you see how Baba really started preparing his campus. We started with kitchen in Shantiban. The food safety, because we had to get a license to run the kitchen, so the trainings, the upgrading of the kitchens to put hand wash basins everywhere, caps, aprons, gloves. And it was all started a year before COVID. So when COVID hit, they were ready. And they were like marveling at how drama was so accurate. And now, you know, we've come a long way. It's still in education. We've come a long way, but you know, the water situation in Abu, it's sensitive because Rajasthan is a dry zone area. So water, when the rains come, the dams are filled. And then we can get water from August right until through to end of January. After that, we have to buy water. Do you know how much consumption is per day when it's full season in Madhuban? When there's 20,000 people, we need minimum 2.2 million liters of water a day. A day. And we have to buy water every day from perhaps mid-Feb onwards, right through to July, to meet the needs. The brothers, I mean, they're incredible. Nobody sees these people, but they're running tankers 24/7. You know, and so we had to do a complete audit and an overhaul of the whole system, and we increased the storage capacity in Madhuban by 50 million liters. So we now have emergency storage of water for a full house of 20,000 people for about 4.5 days now. We can operate Baba's campus for 4.5 days with 20,000 people. We have enough water. And then we introduced a water treatment plant, you know, for a mini city underground, carbon filters, sand filters, chlorination, and all the piping across all the campuses was relocated so that all raw water coming into the campus, either through the, you know, 5 or 6 bore wells we have, and then, you know, the riverbed is a source of water, tankered water. It all goes into one place. It gets filtered to WHO standard and is now distributed to the whole campus. So, I mean, it's amazing, the scale And you know, Baba's machinery just keeps going. Just Madhuban just keeps going. It just doesn't stop. And now the latest thing is a waste recycling plant. You know, within 100 kilometers of Mount Abu, there's no waste recycling facility. So even the local municipality is dumping waste. And then they have the audacity to give us a notice because we're dumping waste. Right? So now, it was very interesting how Baba has all his children from all fields. There's a brother called Klaus Peter, who's a Brahmin from Germany, and he spent many years in India, and this is his field, waste recycling. So he's helped Indore, you know, Indore city, the city of Indore. It's a cleaner city in India, by the way. He's helped them develop a whole system of recycling, biogas, fuel, and he's worked with the local organizations, especially women's organizations, because women are at the forefront of this. And, you know, to create systems for collection of waste, segregation of waste, and recycling of waste. So he came to the campus, he came to Baba's home, and he audited all 3 campuses and designed a biogas plant, a waste recycling facility. And you know, when I was just asking the brothers when they made the presentation, and of course, you know, we have to approve the budget. And so first we have to just see what's the need, what's the resources. And I was amazed. Do you know how much wet waste and dry waste gets generated in a day from all 3 campuses when it's peak house? Do you know how many? You take a guess. 1.8 tons. Yeah, because if you're going to build a recycling facility, you need to know the capacity. 1.8 tons, you know. I was like, okay. Like, how much is that in a room? Is that a room full of waste? So, you know, it's just incredible. But I just appreciate the vision of the seniors, you know, Newerbai, Bridgemore, they're all aging. And yet it doesn't matter. Even if his blood pressure's gone through the roof, he goes and sits on his throne, like his seat, and he'll just welcome souls graciously. And he'll continue to look at, and it's almost like you get the feeling that they want to set Baba's yagya properly. That everyone, all the facilities should be in place so that no Brahmins feel uncomfortable, you know. So really, it's incredible how Baba is continuing to sustain his yagya in an unlimited way, especially Madhuban. It's incredible. So it's very humbling. And there were 2 messages that came to me through all of that. One was no more expansion. Second was put your house in order. 2 very clear messages throughout COVID. No more expansion and put your house in order.
What does it mean by no more expansion?
I think that came because I saw outside the campus, like somebody was building, I think physical expansion. Somebody was building like a park with an amphitheater, with a massive big project. And there were so many obstacles. There were so many obstacles to that. You know? And I realized that's not where we need to be putting our attention now. We need to be working smarter, right? But not physically expanding. And I remember Daddy said many, many years ago, you know, she was saying, oh, and to open, it just came out of her mouth. She said, well, to open new centers is old fashioned now. I went, oh, we were like a room full of teachers, you know, and there's people like opening retreat centers and this and that. And I know that Baba says the retreat centers and places will become places of asylum for Brahmins. Right? But only if there's a need. Because if they're not properly set up with facilities, water, electricity, and all of that's not been taken care of, it's just going to turn to dust. So it's so important to be Trikaldarshi at this point in time with anything we do. And you know, everything's becoming virtual. So we are slowly, this whole world is transitioning into a different realm of operations. It's physically happening when Bap Dada had said many years ago, the world will transform into, become subtle. You're seeing it with our own eyes. So we need to become more subtle and use the virtual reality to do what we need to do. Power of pure thought, and the power of visions, and then of course technology supports all of that. Okay, so flying visit. Unfortunately, I leave tomorrow at around, 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
8:55 is the flight. 7:30. So what time is Murli?
6 o'clock.
Oh, so we can still do Murli.
Yes.
Okay, good. So there's still one more Murli. Good. Okay, let's have a moment with Baba. And Om Shanti. I can't see anybody, but I assume you're very alert.
Om Shanti Sakta. Have a good trip tomorrow.
Look, yeah, they're all alert. Nobody's sitting in their
Om
bed.
Shanti. Thank you.
Om Shanti. Sister, thank
Sister
you.
Gopi. Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, thank you.
Om Shanti.
Okay, let's have a few moments in Baba's remembrance.
The journey awakens within when songs of remembrance begin. The child of the Father is lost in the ocean of love, holding the hand of the guide through the path of confusion inside. Tears become pearls in the silence and passing of time. The song of remembrance is sung in unlimited rhyme. The song of remembrance is sung in unlimited rhyme. Dance away to the beautiful music you wanted to play. Dance away in your heart. Dance away to the beautiful music you wanted to play. Dance away in your heart, in your heart. The palace of mirrors reflect the secrets within you reject. A hat of some status disguising the kingdom of light. The room of your heart you vacate when the hotel of sorrows your fate. Locked in a jungle of questions, the fortune of hell. The strings of attachment draw masters right under the spell. The strings of attachment draw masters right under the spell. Dance away to the beautiful music you wanted to play. bugles blown at the gate, and spiritual